Hi everyone, welcome back to another YouTube episode of my channel. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you very much for all the support and feedback that I've been getting. Today I decided to talk about the 8 tips that we can utilize in order to make our parenting skills easier, better. Let's improvise on them, especially at a time period where we are home more with the children than ever before. There are those of us that still have to go out to work. And for those of you that work outside of the house, you should not feel guilty that you're neglecting your children, because we have to do what we have to do. It's not necessarily about how many hours a day you're spending time with your children. It's about the quality of time you are spending with your children. So when you come home from work, if you implement these 8 tips that I'm going to discuss right now, which I actually set out for myself, to educate myself and to help myself more, then you should be able to feel more in control and feel as a better parent. Again, we do the best we can do. We strive to be the best parents we can, and the rest is already in God's hands. God is going to have to help us with the rest of our children's needs. The first thing about raising children is, number one, it should be like your job. Just like you take your job seriously, you wake up in the morning, you make sure you get there on time, you make sure that you do all your responsibilities so that you can continue to get a paycheck and continue to be hired. Same too is parenting. We need to take parenting seriously. We need to treat it as delicately as we treat our job, because at the end of the day, we're not getting monetary reward for being a parent, but the reward we get long term is going to be greater than any amount of money in the world. The way we raise our children when they're young is going to be the reward we get when they grow up as adults. So first things first, treat parenting as the first priority. If you're not really familiar on how to be a better parent, and we're all guilty of that, we're not born with innate skills on how to treat children, different personalities of children. We don't necessarily know how to do it. Just like when you go on a job and you're being educated and you have time where you learn and you get experience and you're in training session, so too you have to learn and educate yourself on how to be a parent. You have to train yourself, read books, listen to lectures, go on parenting workshops, and help educate yourself to be the best parent you could possibly be. You're going to see me glancing on the screen from time to time. I'm just looking over my notes. Rule number 2, get up early. Being a mother is a very, very huge responsibility, and you have to set your alarm clocks to wake up at least 30 minutes before everyone else in your family is up. If you can wake up an hour before, that's even better. Wake up extra early. If you have laundry that needs to be done, sort it out, throw a load in the washing machine, prepare the breakfast, prepare the clothing the children need to wear for the day. Have yourself mentally drink your own coffee, maybe eat breakfast yourself, so that when the children wake up, it's not an uproar in the house. Everyone is not trying to look for something at the same time. You're not really confused about where all the iPads, the telephones, and all the gadgets that you need right now, especially with everything being on video conference, Zoom meetings for the children to be educated. Things are different. They're not the way they used to be. They're not going to school. Schooling is taking place at home. So you want to make sure that you wake up extra early to get that set. Tip number 3, when we're home, we don't necessarily feel in our mind that it's important to get dressed. And that is a very, very wrong mindset. Yes, there are days of the week that we have to go out, whether it's to go shopping, we have an appointment to go to, we have to visit somebody. And on those days we get dressed, we leave the house, and that's it. But on days that we're home, we have the mistaken thinking that there's no point to get dressed. No one's coming into our house anyways. We're home, we want to be comfortable. Comfortable is good, but comfortable should not mean schleppy, disorganized. You have to look presentable. Just like when you go to work, you take care of yourself. You put on a little bit of makeup, you do your hair nicely, you wear clean clothing. So too is being at home. Like we said a few minutes ago, we're treating parenting as a job. So just like you get up and you get dressed to go to work, you have to get up and get dressed even if you're going to be home with the children and the family. You're around your husband. You want to make sure that you look put together. Nobody says you have to wear clothing like you're going to a wedding or put on tons of makeup, but a little bit of blush or lipstick or mascara just for you to feel good about yourself. When you go to the mirror and you feel good and you feel very, very put together, you yourself are going to take yourself in a way where you're going to feel confident. You're going to feel like you're a boss and you have the power to be the best super mom possible, and everything is just going to flow much easier and in a much organized fashion. Rule number 4, everything needs to be scheduled and everything should be organized. Just like when you work in an office setting, you have a calendar and everything that's important to you gets written down. You have some alarm clocks set up for yourself so you don't forget to call certain people. You get things printed out so that a doctor can sign off on it. Just like you would do that in an office setting, so too you need to do that as a mother. Don't rely on your memory to remember everything that needs to be done for every single child, because sometimes our memories can fail us. Sometimes we are so overwhelmed that we can forget what needs to be done. So set for yourself a menu. What would you like to cook for the rest of the week? Have your children plugged in. That can be one suggestion. You're going to be organized. You're going to write the week's food in advance so that when you go shopping, you know what you want to buy. You're not going to forget it. And the kids will feel like they're pitched in, and you're not going to feel like you're eating the same dinner every single day. You also want to write down on what day you're going to make the shopping, on what day you're going to cook for Shabbos. Everything at its time and every time in its place. When things are structured and organized, everyone in the family is sane, things are just going smoothly. Tip number 5, your kids should have a routine. Whether that routine is bath time, bedtime, playtime, reading time, they should be able to know when whatever routine they're into is going to bring them structure. For example, the children are playing with their blocks. Once playtime is over and you want your children to put the blocks away, you're going to play a song for them. Maybe clean up, everybody, everywhere. And whenever they hear that song, in the child's brain, that's going to indicate to the child that now it's time to put my toys away and it's time to go to the next task. It's very, very difficult to get that implemented, especially when the children are a little bit older, because that's not their norm, but it's never too late to start. Start forming for yourself a routine. It can also be a routine that every night before bed, you're going to read a book to your child. And in the child's brain, every night, if you stick to it and you read a book for your child, whenever that child has a book read to them, in their mind is going to mean, now it's time for me to go to bed. And when children are growing up in families where there's structure, they do better. They're able not to have confusion. Don't make it a routine now that we're home and everyone is doing everything from home that the children should go to sleep at 10 o'clock at night. Because when they do go back to going to school, it's going to be very, very hard to set them back to the way they were before all this started. So they should have a bedtime, they should have a bath time, they should have reading time, they should have playtime. They should be able to know that there's a time and place for everything. Structure is very important. Tip number 6, this is my favorite one of all, and that is self-care. We are so busy as mothers taking care of everyone else that sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves. We are very important. Our health is very important. We need to set time for ourselves to take a bath, to massage our skin, to be able to go and do our nails, take a filer, put on some nail polish. Make yourself feel good. When you feel good and healthy and radiant and you feel at your best, you are going to perform at your best. Just like it's very important for you to take care of yourself, and your children are going to see how it's important for you to wear clean clothing, to take care of yourself, to take a shower often, to brush your teeth every day. They too are going to eventually learn that from you. But if you neglect yourself and you don't really care if you're wearing stained clothing around the house, you don't really care if you shower once a week, your children are going to become just like that. They're not going to take their health and their appearance very, very seriously. And you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that cleanliness and self-grooming is a very, very important part of raising our children, because later in life, children need to realize that it's important to take care of yourself. Hygiene is very important. So again, please don't neglect yourself. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you take 15 to 20 minutes each day just spending it for yourself. Tip number 7, allow your husbands to pitch in. Especially now, the husbands are home, most of the husbands. Allow them to take part in raising our children. If you know that you have to wash the dishes and it's at night already, have your husband read the bedtime story for your children while you wash the dishes. And after he does that, don't criticize your husband. Encourage him. Tell him how wonderful it was, how much he helped you. When we try to take it all into our own hands and we try to be mom and dad, we're not setting a good example for our children. Our children need to know that mom and dad work together and raising them. So make sure you involve your husband in this as well. And finally, tip number 8, which again I found very helpful as I was searching through this, is don't allow other people's opinions impact you. Everyone is going to have a different opinion on what they think about your children and how you're raising your children. And sometimes based on what other people think about our kids, we pressure our children. We want them to be perfect. We want them to grow up a certain way. We want them to have certain careers and certain mindsets. And we forget that our children are going to become who they're meant to become. We can have 10 children, use exactly the same parenting techniques on all of them. And some children will become perfect, studious, educated, while other children want to be stay-at-home moms, while others just simply don't know. They're not bookworms. They're not interested in reading. They have a business mindset. They have different characters. Some are very loud. Some are very quiet. Some are very hyper. Some are very shy. It's not because you're a bad parent. When you do everything we've just listed and we try our best to be the best parent possible, and the children come up and they have different personalities, and we sometimes feel ashamed or embarrassed when we're outside because they're not acting 100% how we want them to act, we start to come home and pressure our children. Let your children be who they're meant to be. Don't allow the outside world influence you on loving your children for whoever they are. Do the best you can, and that's all you can possibly do. I hope you found this to be helpful. Press the subscribe button, like the video if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and all your comments and feedback is welcome. Thank you so much. Have a good day.